Hi, I'm Christian.
And I'm Angela, and we are married
And bored. Welcome, everybody, to episode 10 of the Married and Bored podcast.
You made it. We made it. Everyone made it.
We did it. Man,
Episode
10 episodes.
We are a fifth grader.
Fifth grade.
A 10-year-old.
Yeah, and we've done like 2 a month. Mm-hmm. So it's been like almost half a year that we've done this thing.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, and 10, like Angela alluded to, we're fifth grade.
Yep.
In my house, turning 10 was kind of a big deal. Do you remember your 10th birthday?
I do not remember my 10th birthday. Do you remember your 10th birthday?
I don't, but I do remember that my sister turned 10 once.
Well, that's good.
And it was a big deal for her because that was the birthday where she was allowed to get a phone for her room.
Oh, yes.
So she wanted a phone forever, and my parents kept on saying, when you turn 10, when you turn 10. And, she eventually did. And she got that phone, and it was that classic 90s phone it was clear, it had
the multicolored inside.
Yeah, the multicolored components inside with the curly cord connecting the two.
Love it.
It was legit, and she loved it. And then no one could ever call us again because the line was always busy.
Oh, we've come so far, you guys.
Yeah, so that's cool. I mean, we are very happy that we made it this far, 10 episodes. We love playing games, obviously.
And we appreciate all of you. I think I'm going to tell a little story, if that's okay, Christian.
Yeah, go for it.
Prepare you.
No.
Yeah, when Christian has always had this podcast, I think, in the back burner of his mind. And then when it finally started to become maybe a real thing, and he asked me about being on it permanently instead of just a guest every now and then. And that conversation got real. I think one of the things I was most scared about was interacting on socials as in the board gaming community. I was like, well, what if I express an opinion about a game, or we express an opinion and people just hack us up in the comments? Or what if we disagree about liking a certain game and people are mean to us? And I just want to say that so far, that has not been my experience at all. The board gamers and our community is so nice and welcoming, and even if we disagree, I don't think there's been any heat surrounding that. So
yeah, no hate mail.
No.
Yeah, it's awesome. You kind of expect that no matter what you post online somewhere, someone's going to rip it up.
Well, that's what I just was so scared. I don't want to put myself out there and express an opinion about a game.
Yeah, I just expect to get torn apart when I post online, and it's been refreshing to do something that you put time into, to edit these shows, to talk about these shows, and to have positive responses.
Yeah. So the board gaming community is truly one of the best communities, and we couldn't be happier.
Yeah. So thanks, everybody. And we are looking forward to 10 more episodes.
And then 10 more after that, and 10 more after that. And maybe we'll do a fun little thing for our 10th episode at the end.
Yeah.
We'll dangle that carrot out there so you guys listen.
Yeah, and if you're joining us for the first time, one of the things we like to do right off the bat is just get caught up with each other on our board gaming life or board gaming news in our own individual worlds. Mm-hmm. So, Angela, what's up with you?
All right, what is up with me? I'm going to try to make this as peppy and upbeat as I feel about it, because it does sound a little bit depressing, but it's not. I have really been enjoying solo games.
Han Solo games?
Not Han Solo games. I mean, it's fine. I'm fine with Han Solo. I'm not mad at him.
I'm sure you are.
But I have just been finding myself in situations where Christian's either out of the house doing work stuff, or he is playing a video game and he's not going to be playing board games that night. And I just said, you know what? I have a whole arsenal of board games that can be played as a solo player, and why don't I just do that?
Yeah, it's great. I am always surprised when I look through our smallish collection of games and I find one that says 1 to however many players, and I'm always like, I had no idea that one was solo.
Yeah.
Like, every time I look, I always find a new one.
Yeah. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, the most recent one for me was Outer Rim. I didn't know you could play that solo.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the Han Solo game.
Well, there you go. I have not been playing that one solo.
No, so what have you been playing?
I've been playing That's So Clever, which is a German, I think. Somebody confirm that out there on the
internet.
listening.
Yeah. Danish, somewhere around there.
It's called Gun schon Clever, and it's translated into That's So Clever, and it's just a roll and write, so it's a filler game that I've just been really enjoying. Sometimes our kids will just play Smash Brothers on the weekends with Christian, and I will just sit and watch and play that roll and write.
Yeah, and you like it because it's math.
Yeah.
It's very math heavy. And also, like, you'll let the kids like it too because they like rolling the dice.
So our son, likes rolling the dice, and then our daughter likes writing the numbers
on the scorecard. Yeah, that's a pretty involved scorecard.
So she has no idea what's happening, but I'll tell her, like, hey, write a 4 in the orange space, and then she likes to do that. So they'll get involved in their own little way. And I've been playing Marvel Champions.
My favorite.
With the new villain Wrecking Crew. Mm-hmm. And just for those of you that are interested, I've experienced success with...
I came in like a wrecking crew.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Thank you.
Musical talents provided by Christian Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. But could be confused with Miley Cyrus.
Same person.
Yeah. That I can't even think of where I was.
I totally threw you off your game.
Okay, well, anyone who's interested, I have been experiencing success with She-Hulk Justice against the Wrecking Crew, as well as Captain Marvel Aggression.
Yeah.
I'm a girl power fanatic.
Yeah, you like those girl teams, and you've had a lot of success. Now, we together have played Wrecking Crew, and we have lost like 3 times in a row. Mm-hmm. I'm a terrible player at Marvel, it sounds like.
It does sound like that, although we haven't played that much together. I think it's been twice that we've played as a 2-player against Wrecking Crew.
True. And
then one time you just sat and watched me play solo.
Yeah, I did. I sat in the corner of the room with popcorn with the lights off and just watched you play.
People are going to think we're joking, but that part was a joke. But honestly, he did just come in the room. And I said, "Oh, would you let's reshuffle the deck and get 2 players out here?" And he's like, "No, I'll just watch you play solo."
Yeah, I wasn't feeling it. Yeah, I have, from my perspective or life, or I don't know what the right word is, I only have so much free time for all these things I like to do. Mm-hmm. So board games shares the exact same time with books and reading and video games and TV shows, which are getting less and less. And working out, which is also just getting less and less.
That's generous.
Interesting.
Working out.
So I don't always play every time Angela plays.
Yeah.
And so I don't know why I didn't want to play that night. Bad day at work, long day, tired, whatever. So I just kind of like browsed the iPad and watched her play.
You just wanted to see how the females handle.
I wanted to say,
the Wrecking Crew.
Is she really this good at this game?
Yeah.
And you were.
Yeah. Fun little fact is that what you don't want to do in a solo game is set the villain's hit points to a 2-player game.
Yeah, we have played it so many times at 2 players that your mind is like, oh, 18 points per player, so 36, done. Yeah. And then you almost won. Even with that.
Well, I was like, man, this is tough. I had defeated 2 of the villains, and then I think they schemed me or something, and I lost. And then it dawned on me, oh, all their hit points are set for a 2-player game. I'm awesome.
Yeah. Well, you still got 50% through that scenario with double the hit points.
I don't actually think I'm the best.
So listen, all you Marvel people who say, I beat the game in 3 turns, it's so easy. Angela did it solo for 2 players.
Not really, though. I got halfway.
You can write whatever you want online.
I'll say whatever I want to say. I did it. All right. enough of me and my solo escapades. What is going on with you?
Yeah, so like we mentioned, I haven't played a lot of board games out of the game we're talking about later in this episode. But I still have my toe in the water in the board game world.
You're not playing the games, you're reading about them?
I'm on the computer all day for work, and so like I pop up Kickstarter, pop up Twitter. Reddit's a great place to just browse and see what the heck people are talking about. So, I know I've talked about Kickstarter a lot the past few episodes, but it just seems like this quarter 1, 2020, for whatever reason, they are just pumping out like really interesting games. And they make me want to back almost all of them. Which is hard for me because, again, if you've listened, it's hard for me to put down the money now to get the game in a year.
Right, but then on the other side of that, in a year, it feels like you're getting a free game.
Yeah, it's kind of like a present. Yeah, that's true. But I'd rather, in a way, if we had a budget and it was like one game a month.
Right, you'd rather play that game right away.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm following a few on Kickstarter. One that's really got my eye is the Marvel United game by Simon, Cool Mini or Not. They are Kickstarter kings. And they have done so many Kickstarter games. And this one has the Marvel thing, so many characters. I don't even know how to play this game, but I am like 90% all in.
Now, you would never read how to play a game before buying it.
Yeah, that's not interesting to me. It's really hard for me to even understand how to play a game if I don't have the pieces in front of me.
Right. It's not how your brain works. It's also not really what interests you.
No.
The theme interests you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like buying a guitar. I know how to play guitar, and I don't want to play the guitar before I buy it. They're like, "Oh, just see if it feels right in your hands." It's like, yeah, but I don't want that one because it's red.
Okay.
I'd rather buy the blue one.
Okay.
But what if the red one? It's like, no, I just want the blue one.
Interesting.
So, judge a book by its cover. That is how I choose my entertainment.
All right. Well, I'm glad you just put that out there.
Yeah, you try to be real.
Yeah. And then that just reminds me, the Kickstarter conversation reminds me, I don't know if you were going to talk about this, but that article that we both read today.
Yeah, there was a great article in the Star Tribune, which is a newspaper in Minneapolis, St. Paul, hometown. So we read it, and it was about Leader Games, or Letter Games, who did Root, which is super popular. It's like 32 on Board Game Geek or whatever, which we actually just purchased.
We did.
Yeah, and we have enjoyed learning how to play that one. And they've done Root, Vast, and they had the most recent Kickstarter called Oath. And it was just really cool to hear about his experience being in the IT world and voluntarily quitting his job to move into game design and game company. They've got a real small team. It sounds like 15 people, which is very small. And I've been in that situation. I've been a part of the 15.
Not in the building a game.
No, but it just in the current job that I have now. Started very small. And now we're bigger than we were, which is great. It's always good. But it was just really, again, it was really cool to hear a local, for us, company like start from nothing and get really popular and just hear about their experience.
Yeah, and it made us both text each other almost simultaneously about how we were bummed we missed funding Oath.
Yeah, we definitely should have backed Oath after reading that article. And I think even more so after playing Root. Root is just such a fun game to look at and to learn how to play. There's a lot of interesting things going on in that game. And so I can only imagine what Oath will bring. So hopefully there's like a late pledge that we can jump in on and get that game when it comes out next year. So yeah, and other than that, I'm still loving Marvel Champions. I have played it once or twice with you, more than the solo games that you did. Thor is coming out next month sometime. I don't know exactly when.
What else? Black Widow? Yeah. Doctor Strange?
Yeah, the month after that is Black Widow, and then I think Doctor Strange after that. And then beyond that, they haven't officially announced what's next. So
any more villains coming?
Not that I know of. It could be happening this summer. In June, they have said they're doing like a scenario box or a bigger box expansion. So
Okay.
there could be a couple. I know it's out there somewhere. I think there's a couple heroes and there's a couple bad guys.
Okay.
So that'll be
Our
expanding that
anniversary
game.
is in June.
Well, now you know what to get me.
Happy anniversary.
Marvel Champions.
All right, guys, we will be back in the next segment to talk about our game for this episode, which is Chronicles of Crime. This episode is sponsored by Show It. Hey, Christian, why do we love Show It?
Well, we love it because we are terrible at designing websites.
That is true.
And we were able to make our site using Show It in a couple hours.
Yeah, if you're stuck in like some boring website template, you need to check out Show It and experience what they have to offer. It's really simple. It's drag and drop. And our website, if you've never been there, is beautiful, if I may say so myself.
Yeah, we use Show It to make it, and you can get started for free. Showit.co. Check it out. Hey guys, welcome back. Thank you to Show It for sponsoring, as always.
As always.
Let's jump into the meat of the show, where we
The main course, if you will.
break down a game, talk about specific categories that we like to look for in a game. First, let's say what the game is.
Okay. It's Chronicles of Crime.
Yeah, this is an awesome game.
It is new to us, and it has been around for maybe 2 years. It has, I think, 2 expansions you can currently buy, and maybe another one I've seen reviewers review, but I don't know if it's currently purchasable for the public.
We have what I would call the Stranger Things expansion.
Yes.
Which I think is similar to Stranger Things. To be honest, we haven't played it yet, so we don't know. But yeah, Angela said that there's a new expansion called 1400, which is out there. And if I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure it's coming as a part of a new Kickstarter.
Okay.
Because that's where this game originated, was Kickstarter.
Well,
and
there you go.
They're doing a new series, kind of like Time Stories, where not in Time Stories you go back in time, but this one I think is just mysteries set in a specific era.
Okay.
So check it out if you're interested.
Here is what Chronicles of Crime is. Chronicles of Crime is an app-driven cooperative game for 1 to 4 players, and all that means is that you and a group of people are going to be working together and use an app on your device, like an iPad or a phone, to basically do the game. Players are going to take on the role of London detectives and work together to try to solve a case presented to them through searching crime scenes, talking to people, visiting important locations, and you get to consult a team of experts that the game gives you: a criminologist, a forensic expert, a doctor, and a hacker, an IT expert.
It's intelligence, not hacking. He's the good hacker.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. An IT expert. And then you'll acquire enough information where you feel good enough to hit solve the case. You'll answer questions about what you have discovered, and then it will give you a score out of 100. And then you can also hit solution if you want to see the full solution.
Yeah, that's good. Let's end the show right there.
All right, that's it. So next time, no,
like I mentioned, we like to break down the game and talk about specific areas of the game and why we play certain games. So one of the most important things for us is the ease of setup and tear down, because we are parents of 2 young kids. Mm-hmm. So we don't have a ton of time to play games. And when we do have time, we want to make sure that we can have a full experience quickly. Mm-hmm. It's very rare for us to be able to spend 2 nights playing one game.
Right.
So we want to be able to set it up easily. How easy is this one to set up?
It's very easy. Chronicles of Crime is super easy to set up. There are not a lot of components at all. All you really need to do is download the app on your device. So we used a phone our first game, and then we used an iPad in every future game we've done. And then you have maybe, I think, a stack of location cards, and then 3 other stacks of cards, and a board that's just a rectangle that folds in half. And none of the cards have to be laid out on the board. You just take them out of the box and set them on the table.
Yeah, there's really not much more you need to say other than that. You just got to get things laid out where they need to go, and there's really no place for them to go. As long as you know what you're looking for, you're set. You hit go on the app, and you're ready to play.
And the nice thing about Teardown for this is that the box has specific places for each card and the board and future expansions.
Yeah, that's really great right there. You know, there's a lot of games that have expansions, but they don't give you a built-in insert to begin with.
Right.
Let alone one that would fit any expansion. So this game I know launched with the 2 expansions. So they built in space for those cards. So nice. You can put everything into one box. And that's awesome. Mm-hmm. It makes everything that much easier. Now, I guess if it's your first time, it could be confusing on which cards to use. But you play it one time, that's not going to be an issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's nothing quite like the feeling of putting things back in a box where it fits well.
Yeah, and you know that next time it's just going to be as easy because it's all laid out. Pop out the cards, get your locations, load the app, good to go.
Yes, so very easy to set up and tear down.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing we kind of like to talk about when we break down a game is how accessible is learning to play. Not just for us and our perspective as intermediate to, would you call us expert gamers?
No, I think we're just gamers.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to say expert.
People are going to write in.
Because then people will write in on the internet and say no.
Be haters.
Yeah.
We also like to think about friends or coworkers that are walking into a situation and have never played a game or have played very few games.
Mm-hmm.
So, how accessible is this game?
Again, this is another easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy to learn how to play. The tutorial is all in the app. As Angela said at the beginning, it's app-driven. This one is very heavily app-driven. Probably the most app use that we've experienced in a game.
Good point.
Because it does a lot of the mechanics for you. So there's not much that you have to do on a board. It's just all done within your device, on your phone or your iPad. And so once you start doing that, it walks you through how to play. And if you can read...
Yeah. Let me just ask you some quick questions.
Yeah.
Do you have to have any board game lingo knowledge to play this game?
No, it's very easy.
Do you have to know about any standard mechanics like rounds and phases and...
No, it's very easy.
Is there a meeple or anything?
I don't know what a meeple is.
A token. A meeple. You know what a meeple is.
No, there's... This... Okay, I will say it is weird. There's nothing on the board except
Are there
cards.
dice?
There's no dice.
There's nothing...
And there's just cards that have pictures on it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, it's a very different...
It's a different experience than we've had before.
Yeah, which we'll probably get into later.
Yeah, but
it brought up some...
In terms of like learning how to play it, you don't need to know anything about board games. If you just want an experience, and if you want to play, we'll talk about this in a minute, a CSI or a TV crime drama board game, this is it.
Yeah, it's very accessible for any level of gamer.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Okay. Then the third thing we like talking about, which Christian likes to always mention is my favorite.
Yeah,
because it is.
It is. And it's becoming my favorite too because I realize if we don't score very high in this game, I don't like the game.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. It is, how immersive is the experience? Is there a strong theme? Do you feel like you're pulled into what you're doing?
Yeah, is the story great? Does it pull you in? Do you forget that you're playing a game?
Right. Okay, so this game is very immersive. Mm-hmm. You do feel like you're actually a detective. You've been given a case to solve. You have a boss who's waiting on you. You get the sense that you're actually interacting with people because you're talking to them via the app. You're interviewing them or you're interrogating them sometimes if it gets to that point. And the whole experience of exploring a crime scene. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, exploring the crime scene is like hands down the best part of this game. It's VR driven. Mm-hmm. So because it's an app, you have the option, if you have it, to add, and you can actually purchase this through Lucky Duck Games is like a little VR module. Or if you have Google Cardboard, which I happen to have a little Google Cardboard device, you can explore the crime scenes in VR. And so you just stand up and you look around and you can see everything. It's really cool.
It's kind of crazy. It took me aback the first time we did it because now this game, it's totally animated. It's not realistic at all. So if you're squeamish about that sort of thing, that's not what I'm trying to say happened. But I put on, the VR goggles or whatever they're called, the Google Cardboard. I'm exploring the tutorial crime scene. And it did kind of startle me that I turned around and there was the dead woman.
Yeah. There's the dead cat lady, which is in the tutorial.
And I was like, I feel like I'm here in the room with her.
Oh, poor lady.
She wasn't realistic looking in the sense that I didn't feel like it was an actual dead. So,
no, it's all very stylized in the art of the game.
Right. But it was like very immersive.
Yeah. It was one of my favorite things about playing this game.
Yeah, and another thing that we had talked about just as we were discussing the game was about interactions with characters and how you can talk to a character, let's say at the beginning, at one point in your case solving. You can leave them and then discover more information through other means and other locations, and then you can re-encounter that character and they can act differently towards you based on what you've discovered. So that's pretty cool. It makes it seem more real life. And I know that you had a little bit of, trouble's maybe too strong of a word, but it took you a little bit to get the mechanic of how to interview people versus...
Yeah, that part was a little finicky for me the first couple times we played it, and that took me out of the experience. I had a hard time realizing, okay, so am I talking to the police officer? No, I'm at the park. So I scan the police officer to talk to him, and then I need to scan the park to talk to the police officer about the park. Like, there's a lot of weird connect the dots line back and forth that need to happen in order to get the right information to you. Does that make sense?
Not really.
Okay, great. Why don't you explain what I'm trying to say?
Can everyone just laugh with me on that one? Okay. I know what he's trying to say. You're trying to say that, I think, that, let's just say you wanted to find out information about the police officer.
Yeah.
Well, you thought that you needed to scan his card, but what scanning his card does is initiate a conversation with him.
Right.
So you were then talking to him, not finding out information about him.
Yeah.
And so that was a distinction. So when you scan a person, you're now initiated in a conversation with them, where then you can scan other characters, and that's like, thematically, that represents you asking that person about other people.
Yes. Yeah, and I figured that out eventually, but the first couple times, like, in the way I explained it, I obviously didn't know what was going on. So, yeah, it took a little bit, and it took me out of the experience a bit. One thing I did like about it was that there are sometimes timed events in the scenarios.
Oh yeah,
where like you'd get a text on your phone and it said meet me in the park at 9. Well, it's only 7:30 in the game, and so you'd have to do stuff until you get to that 9 o'clock mark, and then that person will be at the park. So if you go too early, it's not going to show up. So you have to wait until 9, and then they'll show up. That was really cool.
That is neat.
Yeah. And one thing I think that would be take this to the next level of immersiveness, which I wish they would have done, is like when you talk to somebody, it'd be really interesting if they gave you, like in video games, like 4 questions to ask. So like
mansions.
Yes. So like you're a suspect, and I can ask you, what did you do last night? Who's Greg? Do you know what this is? And what's, like, there's options that you could ask each person you talk to. So if you choose the wrong one, you may not get the information you need.
Interesting.
I don't know if that would make it harder, but it would make it more immersive rather than just, you can't really decide what to ask somebody about that person. So if I were to scan the suspect card to the police officer, and you say, well, what do you want to know about this suspect? And you want to say, what do his fingerprints say? Or what's his blood type? Stuff like that would be more interesting. It'd take it to the next level.
Okay. I'm trying to I think that would be different. Like it's very much mansions, you know, like to do that. So hey, I'm not knocking it. I like mansions. I might disagree that would be more immersive though.
Okay.
Because I would say the immersiveness is that you can ask them whatever you want. Just like in real life, you can ask someone whatever you want. You don't get 4 choices.
Yeah, but you never ask the specific question. You just basically say...
It's implied, though, by
like,
scanning the QR code.
What do you know about this? Mm-hmm. Not... And if it was more specific, I think it'd be more interesting. But
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Agree to disagree.
Okay.
All right. Is it fun? That's another thing we like to talk about, because we can say it's easy to set up and tear down. We can say it's accessible to learn to play. We can even say it's really immersive. But we also want to know, like, is it fun?
Yeah, because if it's not fun, why are we playing?
Right. Is it fun, Christian?
Yeah, it's okay.
A glowing review.
Fun is a hard one to get, to describe this game. Yes, it's fun for me personally. I had the most fun with the tech side of this game. The QR codes, the scanning, the timed events, the VR, searching the crime scenes. That was fun. Eventually, the more and more we played it, it got into like a slog fest. So you're just doing the same thing over and over and scanning this card and then scanning that card. And it wasn't very fun.
It felt tedious after a while.
Yes.
Okay, so I would say, yeah, similar to that. My perspective is that it's fun, like an escape room is fun. Like it's an experience. I want to work really hard to solve this case and then solve it and celebrate that it's over, and I'm not going to do it again for a bit. There's probably people out there that do this, but it is not my idea of fun to complete an escape room and then immediately go into another escape room. Like, and that's how I would say this game is for me.
Okay.
If I complete it, great. I'm done. I had fun. I don't need to play this game again for a while.
Yeah, I feel that. Definitely.
Which it's hard to explain. Like you said, the fun is...
Yeah. This is a married and board first because I feel like all of the games we've played, we've had a lot of fun playing them.
Different types of fun.
Yes, but this one is the first time where we've been like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. And that probably means it wasn't all that fun.
Right. Because the novelty of the tech has kind of worn off on you.
Yeah.
Which is what you thought was fun. And it was.
Yeah, I still think it's fun whenever I get the notification saying, would you like to investigate the crime scene? And I'm like, yes.
I put on my VR goggles.
And I go get in the middle of the room and I get my goggles on and I look around. Mm-hmm. That is the funnest part about this game for me. And it was interesting in the last scenario that we played last night. We didn't get that prompt until 80% of the way through the case.
Yeah, it was late.
And I kept on going like, just let me investigate.
Let me look at something.
I need to do it. I have to go look. And finally they're like, do you want to look around? I was like, yes. I don't care about these people. I just want to see this.
Yeah. So it's hard to explain. It's fun as an experience.
Yeah.
Not as a game.
Yeah. Yeah. So our final category is it worth it?
So when we think of this, we're thinking about the cost of it versus how replayable is it, and all of that combined with, is it worth buying this?
Yeah, and there are times when games, like fun factor, number 4, and is it worth it merge into like one mega category, mega section that we talk about. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of overlap between the two. So if we repeat what we said about how fun it is, that's why. Is it worth it?
All right. When we initially brought up this question about Chronicles of Crime just before going on the podcast, my initial reaction is no, I don't think it's worth it.
Okay.
Then you reminded me that it costs $35.
Yeah. So from a monetary standpoint, it was worth it?
Right. I think we got $35 worth of entertainment out of this thing.
Oh, okay, sure.
Like, you'd spend $30 at a movie, it might even be a terrible movie. This is not a terrible game.
No, it's not.
So, it's worth it monetarily. What I mean with my initial thoughts were I don't think so. It's not replayable enough for me.
Okay.
Now it has, I think the base game has like 5 or 6 scenarios. And then we mentioned expansions, and they probably have 5 or 6 scenarios in there.
Correct.
You can even like buy scenarios.
Yeah,
similar
DLC.
Yeah, similar to Mansions would. So there's plenty of scenarios out there, but once you play a scenario, you're not going to get a different experience going back and playing it again.
Yeah, there's almost no reason to go back and do a scenario unless you're playing it with new people. But even then, unless you're there with like good friends and you're just there to hang out,
right,
and let them
lead.
But there's no reason for us to go back and do it again.
Right, and it's just it doesn't make me want to break it out again and again and again. Now, because we have it and we already spent the $35 on it plus extra for the expansion, now that we have it, I'm going to try to break it out every so often, especially with people who don't normally play board games because it's so accessible.
Yeah, I think we're looking for that one game for all of our friends who are like, I don't know what you guys are doing over there with all those games, but we're willing to come over and have you try and show us.
Right.
Yeah, let's play Chronicles of Crime because it's more of an experience, like we've been saying. I think it's an easy pitch. It's like, hey, do you like crime drama TV shows? Yeah,
there's no rule book to look at. I think technically there is a rule book that comes with the game, just so we're clear. But I don't have to read a rule book to new people.
Mm-hmm.
We can I guess we could just go through the tutorial. But if you're playing with people that have already played this, since you're all on the same team, you can just jump right into a new scenario and the app will lead you through it. So I don't know, knowing what I know now, I don't know that I would buy it again.
Okay.
However, it's making me think of a game we do have called Detective.
Yes, we do have that.
And this is, if you've never heard of Detective, it's another crime-solving board game. It's cooperative. You're working as a team of detectives. It is, I guess it is app-driven because...
Yeah, you have, instead of... Well, I think you can do it on an iPad, but we've always just done it on our computer. You go to an actual website and you create a username, and then you get your database.
Right.
Where you can solve all your crimes in the crime database, and you pull up DNA samples and all sorts of stuff. That is more real life than this one in the way that the app works. But Detective is so intense.
I mean, it's homework. It's deep thinking and problem solving. And so I was going to say, given choice, Chronicles of Crime is probably the better, more accessible one to have on your shelf.
Yeah, I will play Chronicles of Crime any day before I probably play Detective again. With that said, does anybody want to buy Detective from me?
Well, you know what? You can reach us at hello@marriedandbored.com. And all our social handles.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway, so Christian's trying to sell Detective now that we have Chronicles of Crime. What do you think? Do you think it's worth it?
Yeah, I think it's worth it. I did have a lot of fun with the VR stuff, as I said. I am looking forward to the expansion. We've got I guess I would just call it the Stranger Things expansion, where it looks like it's set in the 80s and it's a bunch of kids riding around on bikes doing something. So I don't know what.
Something mysterious.
Yeah, and I think there might even be like a monster. It's not necessarily a crime. And it adds more mechanics to the game, which I think we'll touch on a little bit. There's not much going on in terms of gaminess with this game. So, yeah, I think right now for me it was still worth it. But like Angela said, I'm not really running out to play it again anytime soon.
Yes. So that wraps up our discussion.
Yeah.
On Chronicles of Crime. We're going to come back and talk about what we learned about each other and our marriage and an interesting conversation that this game brought up. All right. This is the section where we get into what board games teach us either about each other or about our marriage. And in this case, we're going to be talking about an interesting question that this game brought up that we discussed as a couple.
Yeah, you may have heard us say a few things about it in our discussion of Chronicles of Crime, but we kind of don't know if this is a board game or not.
Yes, and we're going to share our opinions about that, and I think that I'd be curious to continue this discussion maybe in if someone wants to write in.
Let us know after this for sure. But Ange, why don't you start, and what are your thoughts?
So when we were talking about how accessible it is to play, we're saying, okay, so there's no board game lingo you need to know. There's no board game mechanics you need to know. There's nothing really resembling a board game besides an actual board.
And cards. That's it.
It just doesn't, it feels like an experience.
Okay.
Not a game. Like a puzzle, not a game.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I can see that.
And I'm having trouble, like putting a lot of words to this, but I think you said it really well as we were discussing this point a day or so ago. And each game usually has an end goal. And this game has an end goal. But you have to operate within the rules or the mechanics of the game in order to reach that end goal.
Right.
And there's no rules or mechanics to operate within.
The goal is to solve a crime, and the way we solved this crime was just scan cards in the right order.
Not even I don't know that there is one right order.
No, but like eventually you get the right order, right? Like you'll take detours off the path. You'll be like, oh, look, there was a phone in the crime scene. Guess what? It doesn't do anything. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then you go back and you're like, okay, not the phone, but maybe the deck of cards. And it's like, oh, it had DNA on it. Okay.
Right.
Let's move on. There's really there's no wrong way to play this game.
Yeah, there's the kicker.
And there's no...
That's the key. There's no wrong way.
You can mess up, but there's really... Okay, so you, Angela, like rules.
I do like rules.
And so, like we talked about in Spirit Island, that little pop-out box that said, hey, if you mess up, don't worry about it, fix it, and move on. Mm-hmm. Right? And so in this game, there's nothing you can do wrong. You're just scanning cards.
You can't break a rule. You can do things less efficiently.
Yeah.
Or so inefficiently that you don't solve the crime. In
whatever time allotted you have, which was very nebulous.
Yeah. But you can't break a rule.
Yeah.
Like, I keep going back to the feeling of like an escape room.
Okay.
Where I can do things very inefficiently in an escape room. And if it's so inefficient, I might not escape.
Doomed.
But I can't do anything wrong unless I start breaking furniture.
Yeah.
Or, so what I would say in the proper usage of the word game has a goal, but you have to operate within the rules of that game. and you can do things that are against the rules, which, would then be wrong, and you'd have to go back and fix that.
Okay.
But in this quote game, there isn't any of that.
Yeah.
So I'd say it's an experience.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. One of the things I keep on thinking about is that on the box it says 1 to 4 players. Why? Like,
why?
You could play this with 20 people if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
And you could all stand around the table and take turns doing the VR and whatever. But there's no turns. There's no
turns.
There's no pawns you have to move around.
You're not all playing different people.
No.
You're all playing one entity.
It's all really weird. The more I think about it, it's really strange.
Yeah. And the rule book is just introducing you to
the app.
Different things you can do within the app.
Yeah. I don't know. I if you guys have played this game and you feel the same way, let us know. And if you feel the opposite way, we'd for sure
like to hear your reasons.
Yeah. We're not saying that we hate this game.
No, just
it is still a game that we will play sometime in the future. I think we had high expectations with this game because we like cooperative games. It had the app. We've had success with that in the past. And this one, for the reasons we listed, it kind of fell flat. It's
I mean, this is probably too strong of a phrase, but a little bit of like false advertising in our minds because we were expecting to play a game, and instead we were doing a puzzle.
Yeah. Tell us out there why it's a game if you think so.
Yeah,
we'd love to know. Maybe we're coming at it from the totally wrong, perspective, but let us know why.
If they would have just said it's a puzzle. It's a puzzle.
It's an interactive puzzle.
An interactive social puzzle for 1 to 4 people.
I can get behind that.
Then that would have set me up for the right experience.
Sure, that makes sense.
But yeah, curious to hear your thoughts. Honestly, we're not trying to be like, oh, come at us, bro, with a bad opinion.
No, this is just one of those that we're just kind of confused on, and we're not going to say it's bad because we don't think it's bad, but we've never had a negative experience on this podcast yet. Mm-hmm. And it's like, we're not going to talk about a terrible negative experience. And that's why this one is so interesting because it has high highs and low lows.
Right. It's a great puzzle.
Yeah.
But I don't know that it's a game. And because it's not a game, I don't know that it has a really strong place on our shelf.
Yeah.
And maybe that's where I struggle with the cost and replayability. But it's funny because we don't agree is the wrong word, but we usually have different differences we discover about each other in our marriage in this section. And this was actually something that we both came out thinking in different words the same thing.
Like, what is the deal with Chronicles of Crime?
Yeah. Let us know what you think about that, in addition to our question coming up later.
And we'll catch you at the end of the show.
All right, everyone. Thanks for getting to the end of this episode with us. And normally this is where we jump into how people responded to our question from the previous episode and a new question for this episode. But in honor of our 10th episode, I have planned a little quiz for you, Christian.
Oh, no.
I didn't prepare him for this. Christian, do you have any idea what's coming?
No, I have no idea what's coming. Normally, this is something I would do to you to throw you off your balance during the podcast. But, oh, how the turntables have turned.
How the tables have turned.
Yep.
Well, let's see, everyone out there, how Christian fares against some board game trivia. We have had, we're currently in the middle of recording episode 10. So at the end of this, we'll have 10 episodes.
Yep.
And I want to see how you do with a little bit of trivia surrounding each game that we talked about.
Okay, let's go. Let's do it.
All right, on our first episode, we didn't really talk about a specific game. We talked about our history of board games.
Yeah.
And for those of you listening out there, you don't get to visually see, which is probably really good, but you don't get to see the room we record in. It is Christian's office / where we keep all of our games, besides the ones that are out in the garage. So first trivia question. How many games do we currently own in the room we are recording in, not in the garage?
Oh, you counted all of them?
Uh-huh.
Does the closet count?
The closet in this room counts,
Okay.
but not the garage, and I'm counting individual boxes.
Okay, can I turn around? And
Well,
look?
quickly. You can't count them all.
No, I'm going to say, this is just off the top of my head, I'm going to say 32.
Too low.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's not good.
Would you like to take another guess?
I'll do one more guess.
Okay.
47.
Exactly 47.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
There's 47? Oh, no.
Wow. I'm very impressed with that. Did you look at my notes here?
No, I have no idea. I just guessed that it was way too high, and now I'm embarrassed.
Well, and now we have even more games in the garage that get rotated in every now and then.
Yeah, they're not actively played.
Okay, question 2 has to do with episode 2.
Okay.
We talked about abomination.
Yeah.
What is the name of the man that does not want the creature created in the game Abomination?
That does not want the creature created. Isn't he like the sheriff or something?
What is his name?
Okay, so his name would be Sheriff Greg Gregerson.
We're not even close.
He's like a cop, right? Like a detective?
What is his title? Is it Sheriff, Cop, Detective?
Oh, like his, the constable.
No, but you're getting closer.
I don't know. Tell me what it is.
Captain Robert Walton.
That was not close.
It wasn't close at all. Well, you had the right letter. Captain, Constable.
Yeah, that's true. Both police related.
All right, so I'd say, I don't know, I'm going to give you points for the first one. Because you didn't get it right at first, but then you came back in with an exact...
It took me 2 guesses.
So I'll say you're 1 and 1.
Okay.
Okay. Episode 3, we talked about Marvel Champions. The 5 main heroes in Marvel Champions are Iron Man, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, She-Hulk, and Spider-Man.
Okay.
Can you tell me their respective starting hit points?
No. Okay. Captain Marvel is... Oh, hit points.
Hit points, not hand size.
11?
Who are you starting with?
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel is 12.
Okay. I'll count that as correct.
No.
Spider-Man is 9.
Spider-Man is 10.
I'll count that as correct. Iron Man's is low. His is 9.
That is correct.
I'll count that as correct too. Who else am I missing?
Black Panther?
His is 10.
11.
Still correct.
And She-Hulk?
14.
15.
Correct again. Within 1. Nailed it.
All of them are within 1 of each other. Besides She-Hulk. So I would say you can't count those as correct.
It's a good thing that's written on the cards.
It is a good thing. I thought you had all those pretty much correct.
Oh, no. That's too much detail for me.
Okay. Well, now I know. Episode 4, we talked about Wingspan.
We did.
And you threw in some fun bird trivia.
I did. Oh, no.
True or false?
Okay.
Wingspan includes 170 of the 914 species of birds found in North America.
Whoa. I'm going to say true.
That is true.
That seems very specific.
Ding, 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 ding.
That's pretty good.
So,
many
Christian
more
had
cards to come.
Lots of bird facts to quiz me on that episode. If you haven't listened, go back and listen.
One of our best.
All right. Episode 5, we talked about 3 different Star Wars games.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just focus on one of them.
Okay.
In Star Wars Outer Rim, what are the 4 factions that players can gain and lose reputation in?
Ooh, this one I know. This one is the Rebels, the Imperials,
Okay.
the Hutts, and the other guys.
Oh no.
Oh no, it's the oh my goodness, what is it called? Scum. It's like Scum and Villainy. But it's called the Syndicate. Boom!
Woo!
Nailed it.
He got it. At the last minute. How many of you were yelling into your car speaker or your headphones? Good job. So just to recap, you got Wingspan right, you got Star Wars right. I'm going to say no on Marvel Champions.
I'm 4 for 4 so far.
No.
No?
So I think you are 3 right, 2 wrong. Okay. Episode 6.
Okay.
We talked about not a specific game, but we kind of recapped 2019.
Yeah.
And looked forward to 2020. What was the last game you and I played in 2019?
The very last game? How did you determine this? Pictures?
From memory.
From memory?
I remember very clearly.
Gosh.
It was on New Year's Eve.
I'm going to guess Everdell.
That is correct.
Yeah, because we just had Christmas.
Good job. So now you are 4 and 2.
4 for 4.
Nope. Now you guys can see why the rule follower has trouble with him. Episode 7, we talked about Everdell. And I would like you to answer this question.
Okay.
Everdell's rulebook indicates a very unique way to determine the first player. What is it?
Whoever has eaten the most nuts recently.
I can't even take you seriously.
No, is it whoever's last climbed a tree?
I don't know whether you're being serious or not.
I was actually being serious on that one.
Final answer?
Yes.
Wrong.
Oh, okay. What is it?
Most humble. I can't believe you don't remember that.
Well, that's always me.
The most humble player goes first.
I don't know. I like my tree answer. That was a good one.
Good one. So you are now 4 and 3.
Okay.
Okay. This is going to be the toughest one, I think.
All right, hit me.
Episode 8, we talked about Spirit Island.
Yes.
Spirit Island has a number of spirits that you can be.
Yeah.
Which one of these is not a spirit?
I got this one.
In Spirit Island.
I know it.
Okay. So I'm going to list them, and you can either wait till I'm done, or you can jump in right away if you know it's not one.
Okay.
Okay. A spread of rampant green.
Okay.
Shadows flicker like flame.
Yep.
Lightning's swift strike. River flows in daylight. Bringer of dreams and nightmares. Vital strength of the earth. Ocean's hungry grasp. And thunder speaker.
Wow, you listed way more than I thought you were going to list.
Those are all the spirits you can be.
But one of them's wrong.
One of them has been modified.
Say
slightly.
the rivers one.
There's an ocean and a river. The
River.
river one. River flows in daylight.
That's the one that's wrong.
That is correct.
Yeah.
It is river surges in sunlight.
That's right. I knew. I'm all about the water in that game. Yep.
Wow.
I just knew it.
You pulled that one out of your back pocket. So we are a scoreboard. We are 5 and
5.
no. How many have you missed?
I don't know.
You missed Everdell.
Judges?
You missed
Marvel.
Marvel.
Yep.
You missed Abomination. So that's 3. That's all you've missed?
I'm doing really well.
Wow. Okay. Episode 9.
9.
We talked about
Fog of War.
Fog of Love. What are the 3 major scene categories in Fog of Love?
Okay, so there's sweet, and then there's, is it serious? And, and drama.
Final answer?
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yes.
Look at you. Nice job.
Yep, to be fair, I had mentioned in the Fog of Love episode that I was really looking forward to borrowing that out to people, and I did. And so I reset the tutorial, and so I had to look at those cards nonstop for like 45 minutes while I figured that out.
Okay, so now I've lost track of the score again.
Okay, it's just me winning
1,
and the
2,
quiz losing.
You're so mean. Okay. Final question.
Okay, hit me.
Question 10. Chronicles of Crime
Yes.
allows you to consult experts to aid in your investigation.
Yes.
You were a fan of mentioning the forensic laboratory scientist by name quite a bit. What is her name?
Oh, it's Lou Chin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Scientist Lou Chin.
I got it.
All right, everyone. Give Christian a big round of applause. Yay.
Married and Bored quiz. I think I did pretty well.
I think you got 3 wrong.
That's not bad. That's
So-
how I passed high school. 70%.
70%. There we go. There were a couple of these that were specific to us, but if you,
If you enjoyed that, let us know. Maybe we can do more.
yeah. You can also pause it and go back and test someone else's knowledge on board games.
Hey, these people you don't know have a quiz. Do you want to listen?
Yes. It's like those, well, you wouldn't know this, but those like 17 and Teen Vogue
Yeah.
quizzes you used to take,
For
you know,
sure.
when you were a girl in high school?
Yeah. No, yeah.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. Well, that was actually really fun. I enjoyed that. I had no idea what was coming. Like I said, usually I'm the one throwing curveballs at you, so it was fun to try to hit that. But yeah, that brings us to the end of the show, and at the end of the show, we always like to just give a little shout out to our listeners who wrote in. To be fair, I did kind of call out our listeners and say that none of them wrote back for like a couple episodes.
Christian was so angry.
And all of you guys decided to write in this week, which was awesome. So we had asked a question. Do you have any favorite 2-player specific games?
Yes.
Because we had just talked about Fog of Love. And just more than a few of you wrote in, but here is a few of those people. Brooklyn Board Gamer on Instagram said Fox and the Forest.
Yeah. We've seen this one actually from more than just his suggestion.
Yeah, it's at every game store we go to, and it looks very interesting. Doug J. Morris, 7 Wonders Duel.
Again, another one
Yeah.
that keeps getting mentioned to us.
And then My Arm is Colder Than Yours. My favorite Instagram name.
He's your favorite.
He mentioned all the LCGs by Fantasy Flight, Marvel, Arkham, Lord of the Rings.
Which he admitted aren't strictly 2-player, but like us, he would play them 2-player.
Yeah, and we have played all those. We've played a little bit of Arkham. We have Lord of the Rings. And yeah, we agree.
And Marvel. Yep. All right, so we have a new question for this episode.
Yeah, this episode was Chronicles of Crime. It is so app-based, app-driven, whatever that word is you want to use. Where I know that apps in board games can be divisive.
Some people love it, some people hate it.
Yeah, so where do you guys stand on that? Is it good? Is it bad? What's your favorite? What's your least favorite? Just talk to us about app-driven games. We'd love to hear your feedback on this one, Chronicles of Crime, or the other ones that we're familiar with, like Mansions of Madness and Lord of the Rings Journeys. And I know there are others out there that we just...
Even Detective that we mentioned?
Yeah, and there are others out there that we don't even have. So if you have a favorite one, we would love to hear from you. Mm-hmm. hello@marriedandbored.com, Instagram @marriedandbored. Check out the website. Chat with us.
Yeah. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. And we said it at the beginning. We're just thankful for everybody who's listening. We made it 10 episodes. Mm-hmm. And here's to many, many more.
Yes. We'll see you soon. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Married and Bored podcast. And guess what? We have a website where you can listen to podcast episodes and so much more. Find us at marriedandbored.com, or you can email us at hello@marriedandbored.com, or follow us on Instagram @marriedandbored. Music in this episode is by Joseph McDade. See you next time.